Everyone. We're so happy to have you with us. We're so happy to have Russ with us tonight, reading his poetry. I haven't had the pleasure of hearing his poetry yet, but he is a friend to the Birthplace. We see him a lot at many readings, and every time I see Russ, I give him a stack of our latest events that are going on, because I know that he's going to see so many poets. He's so involved with the community of poetry here on Long Island. It's amazing. So welcome, thank you for joining us, and I'm going to come back now.
Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. All right.
And before we get started, we have really good news. Irish Jumper, our head tour guide, was just saying that we're going to be opening on Saturday. August 1st. And finally, I made this announcement a few weeks ago.
Yeah, we had a lot of false openings, but I think this is the real one now.
Yes, the real one, finally. And we're going to be open Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. to 4 p.m., and Saturday and Sunday, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. And we're following all the New York State guidelines to keep everyone safe. Absolutely. And we hope that you join us. We also have a beautiful outdoor space if you haven't visited us before. And I should also say, because not everyone's local to us, we're located in Huntington, New York, which is on Long Island. And we're right across from Walt Whitman Mall, which is pretty neat. So we're a big Walt Whitman area because Walt Whitman was born there. So definitely plan on visiting us if you have a chance, if you're close. And we're definitely going to have a online virtual tour in the near future. We've been trying to set that up for a little while. All right. And before we get started, I just want to go through our upcoming events. As we were saying, we have a lot of upcoming events this weekend, actually, and in the next few weeks. So tomorrow night at 6:30, you can join us for a program called Whitman, Race and Racism. And we'll have distinguished scholar Ed Folsom with us. And he'll be discussing Whitman and his ideas on race. It's a complicated issue because it's during the Civil War, and it's hard to imagine what progressive thought is during that time. So Ed Folsom is going to give us a full picture of what's going on at that time, Leaves of Grass, and the different ways that it was very progressive, again, for its time. So definitely join us for that tomorrow at 6:30. And then next week, we have a program called Existential Quandaries. And that's actually a 4-week discussion and reading group that will be meeting. Dr. Jack Coulihan will be leading the discussion. He's a medical doctor. You may have seen him when he was with us a few weeks ago for his poetry reading. And the questions that the readings and the discussions will be asking and answering are: what price would you pay to live in utopia? What price would you pay for immortality? Can we ever overcome plagues and pandemics? Is laughter the best medicine? So each week you'll meet and discuss these different topics, and it's a $10 registration fee. I'm going to share links in our chat pretty soon, and you can definitely check that out and pre-register. And that starts on Wednesday, August 5th, and it'll be 1 to 3 p.m. all the Wednesdays in August. And the last event that I'm going to talk about for tonight is on Thursday, August 13th. We have poet George Wallace with us. Many of you are probably familiar with George Wallace. He is the host for our Walking with Whitman program. He's a very accomplished poet. He's very influenced by Whitman as well, so definitely join us for that one. Okay, so I'm very happy. We have a surprise for Russ. He doesn't know yet. We have our Walt Whitman Birthplace Poet of the Year, Christina M with us, and she wanted to introduce Russ tonight, but she wanted to be surprised. Got it. So welcome, Christina. Christina also has been helping us with our social media. You may see that we are in a lot of groups and we're really spreading the word well, and that's because of Christina. She's been helping us multitudes. So thank you, Christina. I'm going to give you the spotlight right now.
Christina's very multitudinal.
Yes, yes, multitudes of everything. So thank you so much. Caitlin, you're doing an excellent job, as you have been for the past few months, so thank you so much. Russ, I'm so excited for tonight, and I'm so excited for you. I mean, everybody knows you, but here's an introduction anyway. Russ Green has been one of the key players in the Long Island poetry scene for as long as anyone can remember. He's curated and hosted poetry on stages at various festivals like Alive After 5 and Bradstock, and also in Port Jeff, running a series called Saturdays on the Sound. He has read his own work, including poems from his collection, Gimme Back My Radio, at readings from New York to New Orleans, Cleveland to Santa Fe, and cities in between. He's been co-editor for Great Weather for Media and currently co-coordinates a monthly poetry workshop called South Bay Sundays. In addition to his avid support in all the arts communities, Russ Green is also an engaged activist. Through coordinating events, he has raised funds for organizations like Tahirih Justice Center and the Trevor Project, and for the earthquake victims of Nepal. The magic of his humanitarian endeavors and his unique worldview come together in his poetry. He untangles the past in nighttime stillness with Pandora's box lying under ferns of a fearsome interpersonal jungle. He feels fire in the third chakra on a yoga mat in Killington, channeling the ki, the life force, balancing the breath into hope. One of the first times I saw Russ, he was leaping across a stage holding paper flowers in his hands. And I have no idea what event that was or where it was exactly, but that first memory of Russ holds true to who he is. He's a great spirit, an imaginative soul, and an incredibly talented word winder. And for so many years, I've been a fan of Russ, and I've known him as a poetry acquaintance, and how fortunate and grateful I am now that I get to call him my friend. And by the time this night is over, if you're not already, you'll be a friend and a fan. Everyone, please welcome Russ Green.
Oh, thank you. That was so sweet. I'm having you write my bios from now on. In addition to the other 100 things I asked you to do.
And Christina will be with us, sorry to interrupt you, Russ, just quickly.
Yeah.
Christina will be with us on August 27th for a yoga program that will include poetry as well. So mark your calendars for that.
Awesome.
All right, Russ, it's all yours. You have the spotlight. Go for it.
All right. I'm just going to put it on gallery view because if I have a big picture of myself staring at me, it'll freak me out a little bit. Okay. All right. Well, welcome. It's such an incredible honor to be reading for the Whitman Birthplace. You know, I was thinking about this earlier, and thank you so much, Caitlin and Cynthia, and everyone at the Birthplace, Iris, and anybody else that I didn't mention. You're all down there are just such amazing people. You keep things running down there and have such extraordinary programs. I mean, that's an understatement. And you've just done an inexplicably amazing job at keeping things running and thriving and exciting at the Birthplace through the whole COVID thing. I just can't compliment you enough. Yeah, I'm going to read you some poems. And I learned a new word, Zoom ready. So I think my background is Zoom ready. I have the bookshelf, like the mandatory poet bookshelf there. So hopefully the lighting and everything is okay and you can all see me and hear me. All right, so some older stuff, some not so older stuff, and at least one brand new poem. And yeah, they say you should, at least have two new poems when you do a reading. Well, I have one new poem and a couple that are somewhat new. So I figure for most of you who haven't heard the somewhat new poem, it'll seem like two new poems. All right. So I'm just going to get right into it. Breathe. I'm untangling the past in nighttime stillness with Pandora's box lying under ferns of a fearsome interpersonal jungle. I couldn't see what feet had tread here. The rains had come and washed away footprints coagulated into mud. I released my grip on the chunk of granite curled in my hand, soothed by the running of relentless water. Memories of digging for hours in my best and only friend's backyard, just trying to make it to the next level of earth, always hoping to find water. Granite is made of several types of rock mashed together by the pressure of the inner earth. Among them, K. feldspar, the sweet parts of the conglomeration, bright pink spots of joy peeking out from even the roughest of earth. That's where the gods and goddesses are found. The lump in the throat when life gets so heavy, truth rock lodged right there in the center of the neck where it can't be ignored. It's the shaky voice, truth lodged against the voice box. But every experience vibrates waves of trauma the world has offered me, and I have accepted or not. Eat the arrow before it's launched, it's perception. Einstein told us that just before he combed his hair. His wife thinking she'd witnessed the impossible. Buddhist monks, weeks of working on colorful creations of delicate sand and splendor. They wipe it all away. Let's breathe. The silent clapping. That's going to be a line in some piece of work somewhere, the silent clapping. I see you, Barbara, yes. Doing the one-handed clap. Okay. I'm just clicking over to, there's George Wallace is here. Hey, George. Okay. And Barbara Joy. All the friends, all the poet fam, Wayne. All right. So, and I don't know if it was mentioned, I don't think it was, Christina Rao is also co-facilitator with me at our workshop that we do South Bay Sundays. That was at the Patchogue Congregational Church, and I believe I saw the pastor of the Congregational Church of Patchogue, Dwight. He's waving there. Dwight is the coolest pastor ever. Yeah, he used to do spirituality talks and events about Prince and all kinds of amazing rock stars, David Bowie, and yeah, definitely the coolest church ever. And I'm looking forward to being back there for our workshop. Anyway, all right. So, you know, a few kind of like introspective, you know, serious poems. A lot of my kind of poetry family that knew me, you know, when I was heavy back in the beat day, like George and some others and Mary Jane, they're like, what happened to you, man? You're like, you know, you're reading all this like deep confessional introspective stuff. Yeah, you know, we metamorphosize. I guess that's the word. Yeah, you know, we go through different levels of change and whatnot, but I still got some of the old stuff. Fear not. All right. Yeah, I just wanted to start out a little bit, I don't know, mellower, and then we'll get to the more, I don't know, political and big world stuff. So this is a short one. I love the rain. I love writing about the rain. This is called The Rain. I do not sigh at the worn yellow ribbons sitting on my car seat. I wear velvet in the rain. It is my revolution. The comfort of cloud cover. I want to celebrate the dark rooms where I keep my wounds. the conversations with my dear friend in Ithaca, he kept me sane. I wear velvet in the rain. That's true. I would show you the velvet shirt if I had it here at my fingertips. And I've worn it in the rain on occasion. People look, it's raining, you're wearing your velvet in the rain. Oh, I know. All right. I'm going to go to this one. So we'll get gradually into some more activist type stuff. This is a poem I wrote on 11/11/11. It's called Epiphany. One homeless vet gets one summons for sitting on one bench in one little veterans park, in one little town, in one state, in one country, for which that one soldier fought for what he thought was freedom. There are about 1 million homeless vets in America. Added to the list of things that we need to tend to. Oh, and by the way, that poem is in one column. I don't know if you can see that. All right. All right. This is an old one from my book. I do have a book called Gimme Back My Radio, and I plan to have a copy here with me to show you all, but it escaped me somehow. These things walk away. Around here, you hear loud sounds on the TV, wild-eyed gunshot, kick back on the couch and smoke your pot, bloodshot eyes on your iPod. A pile of pills sits next to your bills. Your girlfriend left you in the parking lot. It's an illusionary world every time that flag's unfurled. You're worried about Iran or some kind of stand. Glenn Beck's ranting about conspiracy nuts. You think, you read, you analyze, find out the so-called experts are a bunch of dumb fucks. You can't afford a doctor, go to the airport, right there at security, get a full report, free x-ray, breast exam, a whole panoply, mention Al-Qaeda, get a colonoscopy. When the money stops flowing past the man on the street, the blood starts flowing past the tips of your feet, you become so comfortably numb. Wake up, listen to the tune of the First Nation people of Saskatoon. It's so simple, man. There's no magic wand. Do what they do in Saskatchewan. Go the way of Earth. Keep a healthy thirst for the truth. The truth. The truth is just trying to survive on the back roads of America. All right. Silent clapping. Okay. All right. So every once in a while I click over to see the rest of the people because it's just weird not seeing everybody all at once. So I try to like see everybody. All right. So this is another really old poem that probably people who have known me the last 4 or 5 years may not have heard this one or a couple of other ones. So this was written in the year 2010 after a celebration for John Lennon in Central Park, kind of officiated by Lou Reed, who's also dearly departed now. Yeah, so it's called Last Great American Lover. I literally unearthed a video of me reading this at Zuccotti Park during the Occupy that I totally forgot existed. I posted it up. Yeah, so poetry is activism. All right. 30 years since our guru of peace was taken down. 30 years since all our hopes were blown to pieces on a 72nd Street sidewalk. JFK assassination of my lifetime. I was 12. I was getting ready for school next morning when my father came to me, half dressed in our safe little suburban hallway outside my safe little suburban bedroom, to tell me John Lennon was shot last night. Checks signed by Yoko still sitting on his desk for tree work done on their Laurel Hollow property. Man of passion, man of power, power to heal a war-torn American psyche, power to the people to wage peace upon the world. I stand here now among thousands in this park in the year of 2010. They've come to echo the yearning of America to have someone, anyone, to believe in again in this Obama nation of false messiahs, last great leader of the working man and woman, last great American lover, lover of the wrongly accused, John Sinclair, sprung from jail and made the news. George and I hung out with John Sinclair down in New Orleans. Last great American lover, the wrongly accused, abused, John Sinclair, sprung from jail and made the news. Lover of the ugly, lover of the lovely, lover of all things Yoko, lover of New York City. John Lennon believed in New York City when no one believed in New York City. Crime-ridden stoner city of the 70s, hero of everything America knows it can be. Again, hero of the unsung corners of Whitman's I Hear America Singing, the Mechanics and Carpenters singing Gimme Some Truth, the delicious singing of mothers and young wives, all you need is love. I feel alone among the crowd, thinking of election day, thinking of a legalized mass murder, served up on a star-spangled silver platter, tortured to perfection, your choice, Afghani or Iraqi style. I'm thinking of economic implosion, 9/11 planned implosion, implosion of morality, spirituality, wondering, where's our John Lennon of today? Full imagine a country with no foreclosures, imagine politicians with something on their mind other than Oval Office, cigar sex, screw the Wall Street working people while I have my big bonus orgasm and let the poets and paupers clean up after me mentality. I hope one day we'll stand up and foreclose on the White House for once. All right. I promise you all that is the only singing you will hear from me tonight. I will not torture you anymore with my singing. Okay. I think I'm going to save this one for a little bit. Okay. All right. So this one I wrote after shortly after going on a little one-person trip to go see this, at the time, 16-year-old young girl who sailed across the ocean on a sailboat to come and warn us all sleepy Americans that we're in a dire climate crisis. And I met some amazing people there from an organization called Mothers Out Front, which we can talk about later. Anyway, so this is called What the Doorway Said to the Clock. I have a tumultuous relationship with you, I know, but of course it's not my fault. The clock's forward-facing hand said, I know from where the trouble comes, and it's not from you. It's the guy that lives here. He's always late walking through you. And the way the tumultuous sky was looking down over the conversation with its own clocks marked by temperature rise, 1 degree, 1.5, must not go past 1.5. Climate scientists say we're already past 1.75, and I'm late, way too late. We're all too late. We're straddling the saddle in the doorway, and the doorway looks anxiously at the clock, saying, I don't know if I can hold him here much longer, man. My saddle's getting weak. The resistance is living the way humans should live. Our defiance, a miraculous victory. The doomsday clock, which measures the threat of the end of humanity, is at 2 minutes to midnight. It has a website called the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists. They have a link on there where you can make a donation to the Doomsday Clock as a gift to your mom for Mother's Day. It's the kind of thing that creates the psychological state of dissonance where we laugh in the face of catastrophe. All right. Yay. All right. Okay. All right. This is one of the many poems that come out of a workshop. This particular one is from the Sunday Grind, which used to be run by Matt Peskin and Terry Muse. It's called A Poem in Which I Only Remember Experiences that are ripped from that have ripped the breath from my mouth. A poem in which the sultry singing of Hope Sandoval goes on for days. A poem where I don't have to worry about whether the reader will look up Hope Sandoval. A poem in which the 7 mountain peaks behind the house in Vermont bow down to kiss me all at once. A poem that knows no bounds except for the mysterious edge of horizon where my fear of no love, my fear of abandonment, my insatiable fear of being alone forever are forgotten. A poem that saves those particular clouds for another day just the way they are now. A poem that cares nothing about the indelible greenness of pockets, but rather the chlorophyll clocks that keep leaves longing for the delicate embrace of low-lying, blanketing clouds caressing the stems and veins for hours. A poem that feels louder and calmer according to how high the salmon leap toward the rebirth of my confidence. A poem that lives in the misty breeze that only thrives in the thunder under the most cathartic waterfall. A poem that captures the essence of warm candy apple breath as it flutters delicate wisps of hair falling in front of a thoughtful mouth. So Hope Sandoval is, she's the lead singer of one of my favorite bands, and the name escapes me now. We'll talk about that during the Q&A. So yeah, it's like a roller coaster, you know, start out mellow and then go up and come back down. All right. Okay. Montauk. She knew a shortcut from the moon. She took the back way. She gave pennies for poems and sharpened pencils on an old schoolroom crank. There were 30 of them in her bag at any given time, and they were all sharp enough to pierce the heart of a bug-killing bard. There were Malbecs in Montauk with her family and 3 different kinds of potatoes because there was a potato war in the kitchen between her sister and her in-law. Surfers rode waves projected on the wall over the roar Thanksgiving fireplace, hip-hop banana rock on the beach with the niece dancing and singing in great-grandma's fur-lined coat, tours of the abandoned World War II German hunting radar installation with the nephew. Grandma set up house with us in the big old manor on the hill. It was 20-something with a wind chill of minus ridiculous blowing off the Great Peconic Bay, enough to stick a fork into fall between those 2 big forks and fork over a gravy boat full of winter. We had a delicate sense of the raw salt wind breathing into heavy wounds. And don't you know the womb is made of chi? That's a Chinese word for life energy, and it was there bleeding out of every corpuscle, broccoli bread, cranberry, and crouton that any ocean would have been hanging on to by the thinnest of threads. It was about this time that the relevance of clean, clear communication between the water's edge and the falling leaf was becoming undeniable. The genuineness of endings and beginnings was inimitable as the summer swan dive into family sing-alongs on car rides along the Connecticut River. The sanguine sequence of falling mercury sent shivers down an already traumatized spine, and the gulls gathering on the sea rocks hardly noticed. They were flapping their feathers in time with the wayward wind of knowing, with Robin's Island looking on. Yay. Is it possible to like unmute everybody for just like 2 seconds in between poems? So just like, you don't even have to clap and cheer. Like, you could metaphorically throw tomatoes if you want. You don't, you know.
Hooray!
Yay!
Love
I just get like,
Love you!
you get a little verklempt, like during silence during the entire thing.
Awesome!
I'm sorry, I'm making extra work for you, Caitlin. I'm sorry.
Barbara.
Buy me a beer.
Yes, exactly.
I need a drink.
I mean, I could just hear George asking for beer, and that would be perfectly enough. Like, you know. All right. All right. Let's see. All right. Something very lighthearted. Dear Anxiety. You know, I wrote this poem, and you know, I thought, okay, you know, this is a good poem. Dear Anxiety, a epistolary poem, you know, and I felt good about it. And I'm like, okay, maybe not the most original title in the world, I don't know, but you know, haven't heard of a poem named that yet. And then I found my, you know, my good old friend and poet brother Steve Licardi wrote 3 poems named Dear Anxiety. I was like, oh man, really? Anyway, okay. Dear Anxiety. Justin and Barbara Joy, hey. Okay. Sorry, shiny objects. Not that I'm objectifying you. All right, I'll shut up and read now. I see you in the mirror, looking into me with your malicious smile, drawing me in like a machine gun toting Candyman, luring me with your sweets. You invite me to sit with you among the daisies, knowing I'm completely unaware. Lava simmering below the surface, soft, innocent soil, Vesuvian time bomb, ash of my history rocketing into tumultuous sky. You rain down again and cover my pores. You seep into my wounds where blood will not coagulate. Platelets catching platelets, trying to form a net, to form a clot, to stop the bleeding. You tie a Gordian knot around my throat, shaggy Mongolian ponies trampling my rib cage. It is time to loosen the bind, rein in the herd. I refuse to stand for your draconian measures. I sit under the gaslight contemplating how to tell you, my dear, I have loved you so long, but I need to leave you. Shaggy Mongolian ponies, by the way, come from my time hiking in the Himalayas. There were more than one time where I was almost thrown off a mountain by a shaggy Mongolian pony, which they used there to carry goods, 50-pound packs on either side of the shaggy Mongolian ponies to bring to the villages, because they don't have roads in this part. It's one of the most rural parts of the world. And I remember my guide, Nima, who grabbed me by the waist and pulled me in and screamed at me because I was on the wrong side of the shaggy Mongolian ponies. Because if you're on the wrong side of the shaggy Mongolian ponies, they could bat you off the ledge that the trail is on, and you fall several hundred feet to your death. So that's when I learned to stand up against the rock wall of the mountain when they pass by, so you don't get thrown off. You know, little things you learn. Okay. It's all about the anecdotes, man. Was it J.D. Salinger? The truth is in the digressions. All right. I guess I tell a shit ton of truth, I suppose, depending on who you talk to. If you talk to anybody on Facebook, then forget it. All right. let's see. I'm going to do Stone Rain first. Anyone who knows me knows that I have a lot of mountains in my poems, man. It's just the way it is. You know, I think mountains keep us sane. They keep me sane anyway. I believe mountains have energy, like an actual measurable physical energy of their own, as well as, you know, bodies of water. And I've always been drawn to the mountains and the water. I go down by the harbor almost every day or night by me and get up to the mountains at least every couple of months. Stone Rain. I'm building my house on the stone bridge, stone mountain, trust stone, philosopher's stone, stone praying to the rain in the gray zone. Hawks watch the dirt melt, black river carries away my holocaust. Winding current steals away through the valley under cover of darkness. Because it doesn't cry for Mary anymore, it cries for Emily Dickinson, planting flowers in the dead of night on Main Street. It cries for Sylvia Plath, that is, curled up in her mother's crawl space on Elmwood Road in Amherst. It cries for Jessica, who jumped from the bridge on Route 4. I hold up my hand to the rushing water, barreling through that deep gouge of earth. Turn my head from mountain to mountain, peak to peak. I see every vista at once. A movie with multiple endings. My stone displays its dignity under relentless gray. The peaceful warrior grabs her beret and yogas her way to the cavernous coffee shop between the black and white sides of town. Yeah. A few of you who've traveled up to our Vermont hideaway with me know Queechy Gorge. That was those expired. A few people have expired at Queechy Gorge. Inspired by Queechy Gorge. It's a beautiful canyon on Route 4 in Queechy, Vermont, outside of Woodstock, but the Vermont Woodstock, the other Woodstock. All right. So this is the mom poem. It was kind of July 27th has kind of turned into Mother's Day for me personally, and kind of my family too, because that was my mom's birthday, who, you know, many of you know. That's I lost my mom 2.5 years ago, and I was pretty close to my mom, and my mom loved her birthday. You know, people get older and they're like, you know, I mean, myself included, you know, and you know, we're like, oh, another birthday, I'm getting older, and it's like, my mother loved her birthday till her dying day. I mean, like, my mother was just crazy about her birthday. She's like, yes, let's celebrate. You know? Anyway, so celebrate we do on her birthday. This is called Last Tuesday Morning, and I know a number of you have heard this, and but I think it's been a while since I've read it. So anyway, here's to you, Mom. And if Barbara Myers was here, who was kind of my poet mom, she would be screaming now, and I'm sure she is screaming from somewhere right now. Just read the poem. I see you, Barbara Branca. Just read the damn poem. There, I did it for her. Last Tuesday morning. Your passing resurrected a voicemail from 3 years ago when you said, Hollyoaks, Batman, while passing through Holyoke, Massachusetts on your way to Vermont, after which I replied, Chicopee. Because it's right after Holyoke, on Route 91, and because in the movie Nell, upon being found in the woods after being raised alone by her mother and developing their own homespun English together in an isolated cabin, the first thing Jodie Foster says in a tender voice to the small town doctor who rescues her is, "Chicopee." It was our silly way. We had a connection many sons and mothers weren't lucky enough to have. The resurrection happens at traffic lights when memories rain from backdrop of soft transient shades of silver restless sky. It happens at Chinese takeout where I remember you eating tiny corn cobs rabbit-like, recreating the way Tom Hanks did it in the movie Big. It happens on my various devices. It happens driving past Rockefeller Center, Radio City, and the Hippodrome, the only garage where you'd park your car in New York City. It happens over wine glasses, over lemon peels twisted in the cavernous concourse of Grand Central Station, underneath its backward stars. All right. I don't think everybody's aware. The last line of that poem has to do with two things. My mother adored Grand Central Station because of the architecture and the fact that Jacqueline Kennedy, saved it from destruction, and also because of the Michael Jordan's Cafe there, which was called Michael Jordan's, and it was the only place I think on the planet that did her twist of lemon on her wine glass correctly. So my food snobbishness is not my fault. It's hereditary. It's in my DNA. So now that the lemon rinds have made their way and permeated their way into many different poems. So I'm just looking at the time here to make sure I don't run over. I'm getting down to the wire here. Maybe I'll just do. Well, I was going to just do one more, but I'll do two more quick because Marna Schoenwald is here, so I can't not read Firesaw. Marna Schoenwald, if you guys don't know, is just a ridiculously talented artist. And she actually painted a poem. She did. She painted a poem. She painted a painting to my poem, if that makes sense. Yes. There's alliteration for you. And it exists. And there's actually a video of the poem in an animated form done by Mike Krasowitz with my voice in the kind of overdubbing, reading the poem to the painting, if that makes any sense. It's pretty cool and innovative. I'll have to repost that again. So this is for you, Marna. And it's about an old friend, Donnie, who went down to help during the fires in his hometown in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. It's called Firesaw. Fire in the belly of a one-man relief army in Gatlinburg. Fire in the wounds of the locals who fled the burning hills and hollers of those Tennessee towns. Fire won't ask you who you voted for before it consumes everything you knew. Fire won't ask you why you have no desire to run from the flames. Fire won't ask you about the cutting on your forearms and legs. It won't ask you about the childhood scars that cut so deep into your emotional cavity that you can't trust the burning embers of that longed-for first kiss. Fire in the words of the digital battleground, civility and kinship charred among the remains. Fire won't ask you about the rocks in your stomach that won't allow you to eat after your best friend turned his back on you, leaving you curled up and weeping for days at the end of that broken down old fishing dock where you used to write poems together on Sundays. Fire on the tongue of the construction worker singing folk songs in Detroit while nobody knew but for the whole country of South Africa, and they turned him into an anti-apartheid icon. Guitar-picked fingernails in the working man's wheel with the dust and soot of that city pulsing through and down to his capillaries. A song about a teenager having sex that sparked the revolution. Fire in the streets of a bed-in. Fire in the sheets of a bed-in in Montreal lasting 2 weeks just to try to give peace a goddamn chance. The image singed with the memory of gunfire splitting open the Upper West Side night. Fire in every syllable of a civil rights savior come to Memphis to stand with the sanitation workers. The fire that still burns through the words of Maya, Ta-Nehisi, and Michelle. Fire in the thin bones of a liberator making his own salt from the sea. In the restless hands of a nun in Calcutta. In the fire dancer's visions of commingling cultures, creating a world without collisions. Fire in the feet of the marching protesters on Fifth Avenue. That was taken from a protest with Mary Jane Tenerelli protesting the big tower to the orange idiot. Building their tower of song for the South Shore social workers and teachers and singers and salutatorians, marine biologists too late to save the washed up whale beached on the South Fork of this divided island, and the burning need to stick a fork in both forks of that overdone East End of white privilege. I love you all East End people, no offense. Chants for the word maidens telling its slant. Fire in the third chakra on a yoga mat in Killington, channeling the chi, the life force, balancing the breath into hope. This is where the this is where the chi is, in case anybody's right here. Okay. Okay. So yeah, one more. Yeah, I get into beat mode in those poems, and then when I read the mellow ones, I get into here's a confession. I go into Mark Doty mode when I read the slower, more introspective poems, and I don't do it intentionally. It happens automatically. It's like the house of beauty is burning. Okay. Yes. Love Mark Doty. Where is my last poem? Here it is. All right. So this is the brand new poem, only read in public one other time last Saturday at Maggie and Susan and Chip's Poetry Street last Saturday. I think Maggie and Susan might be here, or one of you, or possibly. Anyway, so yeah, only the second reading of this. Fairly short one. And then, yeah, then we'll hang out and talk, and you can ask questions, and hopefully I will be able to answer them. Orient Point. Lemon rinds and car rides, birth family, adopted family, family lost, mother lost. The citrus sits on the lap of my safe, seductive dream. The endings and the onwards, hollow body, lump throat, lack of eating. The leaky cup, I wear my wounds like crushed velvet in the rain. And the rain welcomes me like the sultry harbor, foggy moon. Craters teach lessons from their bright space in blackness, bright space, black sky. Now the morning field of lavender is purpling apocalyptic anxiety. The tiny crepe cafe around the corner with its tiny tables and tiny chairs on the tiny careless road. Handing my tongue's anticipation through the tiny window, the thin dough draped in a hair clip Russian accent. It's a long, narrow road back, but she's got the wheel and I've got the radio, and even the burnt sienna end of day reflections on the farm stands, pavement, and sleepy trees cannot deny the rush that comes with tomorrow's new light.
Amazing,
Thank you
Russ.
all.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna come back.
That one is really
Yay.
stupendous, stupendous.
Fabulous.
Fantastic.
Thank you all.
Excellent.
All right, I'm gonna come back for a
So
second.
good.
I want to make sure we do a big round of applause because again we've been holding it in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You look great.
Well done, Russ. Good job.
And Russ, your energy is just so incredible. Even through Zoom, it comes through. Absolutely. While we were setting up earlier, before we started the Zoom, Russ's camera was being a little strange. It was a little blurry when he moved. And I said, just when you move, it'll be fine. And Russ was saying, well, I do move a lot. And now I get it. I totally get it now, and I'm glad. And Russ, it looked really clear. It looked so much better. So it worked out.
Oh, okay, good.
So thank you so much, Russ. And we're going to do questions in
No,
just.
thank you, Caitlin. You've just done such amazing, incredible things, and I'm honored that you invited me and Cynthia and everyone.
Yes, of course, of course. We're so happy to have you here. And it's my first time seeing you read, which is amazing too.
Oh, right. I can't believe that. It's so long.
I know, crazy.
I do business stuff with my day job with the Whitman Birthplace. So Caitlin and I have seen each other over the past couple of years, and it's I'm always amazed when she tells me she hasn't seen me read my poetry.
I know, finally. But before we get into questions, I also just wanted to say I've left this out of my intro, and I can't believe it. Thank you so much to everyone who donates to our programs, because that's also what makes this possible. And Russ has donated many times, which we appreciate so much. And every little bit helps. You know, $5, like a cup of Starbucks, makes a huge difference to us and allows us to have these programs every week that we started throughout the quarantine. And we're going to keep doing the Zoom events, even though we're reopening the museum. So you can keep joining us on here from wherever home is for everyone here. So absolutely take a look at these links that I'm going to be posting. And then if you have a question, you can either come on video if you're feeling brave, or you can type them in the chat. And Russ, if you want, I can read the questions to you just so it's
Yeah,
easy.
maybe, yeah, just in case I'm listening to somebody and don't, yeah.
And the links will be in the chat in just a second.
George, well, great show, thanks. Okay.
And then also, Russ, there's so many great comments in there, and you can
Bye,
download.
George.
I'll show you at the end how to download all the comments from tonight, just so you don't feel rushed reading them all. There's a lot of really good ones.
Oh, yeah, totally. And is this recorded and shown later? Like, what's the?
It'll be on YouTube.
Oh, okay, cool. I thought so, because there's a couple of people couldn't attend or attend late, and I'm like, I think it's going to be recorded. Okay, cool.
Okay. All right. So let's see what we have.
So,
We have a lot of great comments. I want to see. Well, first I'm going to start with the comment from Dwight Lee Walter. And you
oh,
had
Dwight,
earlier,
yes.
Reverend Dwight.
Reverend Dwight.
Saying that the stars are backwards on the ceiling of Grand Central Station.
Oh, I meant to explain that before, and then I got sidetracked, as I do. But I began to explain that in addition to it, Grand Central Station being one of my mother's favorite places. My mother loved New York City. She had a real love for New York City, which is kind of unique in my family. I'm the only other one in my family who loves New York City. And everyone else is like, you know, they don't want to go near the city. It's too much chaos. But my mother loved New York City. She loved Broadway. She loved the arts. And so, yeah, the Grand Central Station thing. The thing about the backward stars is when the artist who, I forget the name of the artist. Goodbye, Michelle G. I forget the name of the artist, but the artist who painted the ceiling, the cavernous ceiling inside the main corridor of Grand Central Station, have advertisements popping up. Okay. Apparently he accidentally, I hear it's accidentally, it's, you know, up for discussion, but the starry night sky is backwards. If you look at a star map. So when somebody noticed this great masterpiece was done, they asked him in a press conference, and actually constellations, yes. He came back with a brilliant reply. He said, well, it's God's view looking down from the heavens. I mean, who would think of that? So that's the story between the backward about the backward stars. Rumor has it he just like screwed up and put it up backwards. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, thanks. Also, I'm glad you asked that, Dwight, because I forgot to mention it. Anyway.
All right, so we had a question from Rory Kelly, who's a local musician that was actually with us.
Rory.
But she had to leave, but she had a question before she left that she wanted to make sure.
She's got a gig, so yeah. I told her she's allowed.
Okay, she gets a free pass. She said someone needs to get Russ to tell us what the 3 different types of potatoes were. The people need to know.
What? Say that again. I'm sorry, I got distracted.
The 3 different types of potatoes, what they are.
Oh. Yes. So I think it was 2 Thanksgivings ago, I went out with my dear friend Kelly, who's kind of like my poet sister, and we went out to Montauk. Her sister and her partner, they live out in Newburyport, Massachusetts, north of Boston, and but they have a summer place in Montauk, which we went to in Thanksgiving because they go there for Thanksgiving as well. So anyway, her sister's in-law is a great cook. They're both foodies, Kelly's sister and her in-law, and so they both have great potato recipes. So instead of choosing who's going to make the potatoes, they both make potatoes, and so then we end up with tons of potatoes on the Thanksgiving table. So I call it the Potato Wars, because they kind of a little bit try to outdo each other, I think. And so there were mashed potatoes, there were mashed sweet potatoes, and then there were, I think it was baked potatoes. I know when Kelly sees the recording of this, she'll probably correct me, but I believe it was regular white mashed potatoes, that I know for sure, and mashed potatoes, and then just regular baked potatoes. And there may have been scalloped potatoes also, I think. My memory is bad. So there you go.
A lot of
There you go, Rory.
Yeah. She'll definitely see it later and she'll know. All right. And do we have any other questions through text, or does anyone want to come on video and ask any questions or say hi? It's a good time for that.
Can we say hi?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hi, Russ.
Russ.
We're
Who is that?
eating.
I can't
It's Melissa and Dan, and we're eating Thai food, and we miss you.
Oh, well, listen, there you are. Okay.
We're eating galanga, and we're watching
You're
you.
eating galanga.
We are. I'm really
I'm
happy.
infinitely jealous. Infinitely jealous.
Well,
Oh my
thanks
God.
for performing, and we love you.
I love you back. It's so great to see you guys. Aw.
Hey, Russ.
friends.
It's been a really long time.
I know, right?
And
Barb.
I've been very lonely out here. It's been very weird.
Yeah,
So,
I've been lonely in
anyway.
Port Jeff too, Yeah.
So it's good to see you and everybody on this video. I let my hair get long and wild and all this stuff.
Yes,
I
it's
don't
cool.
know.
That's rock star hair.
Yeah, I guess I'm lazy.
Yes. And I don't know if you this little sidebar, were you part of the Tesla thing that happened on Zoom?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Because I
Yes,
meant to,
was.
I had like, a ticket that was given to me and all this, and I was helping like my other poet sister, Michelle Whitaker, with some moving and stuff, and got a futon, all this stuff. I've gone from Astoria and back, and I missed it, so I was bummed.
I had my Facebook profile picture as Tesla for a
I
while.
saw that.
And then I also did a video,
awesome.
but I have not posted that. I don't know.
You must.
Maybe. It's very weird. It's
You
okay.
must.
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
losing my mind slightly. I'm not
what?
alone in this.
I've already lost mine a long time ago, so I mean, if I didn't have it to begin with, then I'm not going to worry about losing it.
That's right. That's right.
So.
I have no further questions.
Oh, okay. The defense rests.
I'm reading the Mary Trump book, so I'm like in the state of crazy.
Oh, okay. Take frequent breaks from that.
I'm almost done with it.
Anything Trump, I think, kills brain cells. I think every paragraph read or written about Donald Trump is equal to smoking like 15 joints or something.
Oh. I don't know.
Anyway, hello, Mary Jane.
Hi, Russ. How
I
are
see
you?
Fanning yourself. I'm good. I'm
So
still here.
hot in here.
They can't keep me down.
Mary
I
Jane.
think, Russ, I think that you should write a chapbook full of food poems. I think you would do really great food poems.
Yes.
Okay.
Eating food poems, restaurant poems.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Matt Pasca said to me once that I should write a book about all the restaurant owners that I know, because for a while we had a
All the
thing where a bunch of
waitresses.
us,
Or all the waitresses.
the waitresses, yes. Well, at least I've covered the Main Street Cafe in Northport.
That's true.
But yeah, we used to have a thing where like a bunch of us guys would go out like once a month to eat at a different restaurant every month, years ago. And every time we went somewhere, I would tell them about the history of the place and the owner. And, he's like, how the hell do you know every single owner of every restaurant? And I'm like, I don't, I know people. I don't know. Yeah, some of it's through work and some of it's just through hanging. But yeah, and then I've had several people say to me that I should do a food blog, various restaurants, which would be more difficult now, but yeah, could still be done. Home cooked foods and socially spaced outdoor eating and all kinds of things, and picnics and yeah. So I'm gonna have to do something like that. I always say that the reason why I put out a book of poetry is because I just got tired of people asking me to put out a book of poetry. So eventually I'll get tired of people asking me to do a book of food poems or something, and I'll do it. I have to be like forced into things. So yeah. Wayne, how's it going? And Brendan's
Ross.
here. And Billy's here. Hello.
Hey, Russ.
How's
I've
it
been
going?
listening to great, and I've been working on something I had to do, but your words have like wafted over me like a soft summer breeze.
Oh, that's the sweetest thing one of the sweetest things I've heard about my poetry. Thank you. And I mentioned Mothers Out Front. I don't know if you were here for that.
I was.
Okay. So Billy, let me tell you, so I'll just pretend this question was asked. Hey, it's Victoria has joined Christina and Brian. Oh my God. They're all hanging together.
Yeah.
You got your own little poet posse.
All agreed.
Cool. I'm sorry. Well, Billy, I was on Billy. I'll get back to Billy. Just one little sidebar. Cool. So whose house are you hanging at, or abode? Or should I not say?
We're at
Am I
mine. No,
crying?
it's okay. We're at mine.
Oh, cool. Nice. Okay. I'm so nosy.
Now, Brian, what's short?
I guess I'm allowed to be a little nosy if it's like my feature, I suppose. I don't know. But anyway, so welcome, guys. The three of my dearest friends ever, like in this life or any lifetime. Christina, Victoria, and Brian, yes. So Billy, let me tell you the way I met Billy, and this has to do with one of the poems that I read, What the Doorway Said to the Clock. It was inspired by, like I had said earlier, going to see Greta Thunberg, which is the correct pronunciation of her name in Swedish, by the way, Greta Thunberg.
Thunberg. Thunberg.
She said it says it Thunberg with a
Does she?
like a Y at the end.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. You can pull up, because Amy Goodman asked her directly. Amy Goodman doesn't beat around the bush from Democracy Now! And she said, the Americans, they say Greta Thunberg. And she's like, so how do you say it in Sweden? And she said, Greta Thunberg. So, yeah, apparently you pronounce the G like a Y. There's an actress, who was a famous Swedish actress from back in the day in the 50s or 60s who pronounced her name similarly. She had a G at the end of her name. There was a movie about her a year or two ago. I'll think of it. But anyway. So yeah, getting on the train in Huntington to go greet Greta Thunberg's boat coming into Manhattan. I met Billy and our other friend Lisa, and yeah, Billy's part of Mothers Out Front, which is an amazing organization that educates children and mothers and fathers and just people about you know, the climate crisis. You know, that's the short
Russ,
version.
we do more than that. We have campaigns. Each team has a campaign, and
Right.
our campaign for 2018 was to get the town to sign a pledge to go 100% renewable.
Right. Yeah.
And our campaign this year is to get the school districts to start replacing their dirty diesel buses with clean electric ones.
Right. Yeah, and Billy's in Huntington or Huntington Station, and they're doing a lot of amazing work for the village and town of Huntington and surrounding areas. So yes,
Hey Russ,
gratitude.
you had followed the Facebook I was doing, the Facebook page I was writing about when she was due in, and that's how you didn't meet us on the train, right?
No, I didn't. I just purely met you guys on the platform in Huntington.
Just total fluke.
Yeah, and you had asked, you were like, "You come sit with us," you know. And okay, and yeah.
That was awesome, wasn't it?
It was an amazing experience, absolutely amazing. So that's how I know Billy, and I've sucked her into the poetry vortex like I do everybody.
And I'm trying to suck you into the Mothers Out Front vortex.
Yes, you've been pretty successful so far. I've been a bit on the busy side lately with poetry stuff and life stuff and work, but I definitely want to get back in the zone on that. We'll talk more about that for sure. Yeah. So yeah, Brendan, good to see you. And let's see who else is here. Mary Healy, so good to see you. And some other poet friends, some I know, some I haven't met. And Marna's on top of the world. I'm on top of, okay, I'm gonna start singing now. This is getting bad. We don't want that to happen. It's not good. I have a few strong points, but singing is not one of them. So yeah.
Russ, I was just thinking, are there poetry groups that are meeting now that you could maybe talk about that are meeting online? You know, like is South Bay Sundays meeting online? Is there?
Yeah, so here's the deal with South Bay Sundays. We did two Zoom events, and Christina chime in if you know, as Christina and I run that together. We did two Zoom events and one kind of Facebooky event. Was that Zoom also, or was it I don't know what it was, but that was just like a test thing right after the COVID hit. Before that, we were down at Dwight Walter's amazingly beautiful congregation of Huntington Church. And now, for the second month in a row, we have started meeting in the park, appropriately spaced apart in a big old circle. We hold our workshop, outside by a beautiful lake in the shade. The last Sunday we were being chased out of the shade, but we have managed to maintain shade. Before that, we were in, that was in Gardner's Park. And I think we're going to meet there next month also. It's once a month. Before that, we were at Brookwood Hall. I think that's right, Wayne. Wayne's become, I've designated him location manager. Yes, we have officers of the group and ministers and president. No, I'm kidding. Totally kidding. I'm trying to create our own country of poetry, like the Republic of Poetry. And, we'll have different departments. That's my dream anyway. Who knows, maybe. But yeah, Wayne found us Brookwood Hall, which is a beautiful park over there. They were having this big, professional baseball game right next to where we were meeting. And it's one of the most beautiful parks on Long Island. But it was a little bit distracting. So we decided to move over to Gardner's Park in West Bayshore. And it's super beautiful there and pretty quiet. So that's where we are now. So it is an in-person gathering, but it's outside, and like I said, we appropriately space and we're cool about it. And yeah, so that's that. And if you want to know more about it, get in touch with either Christina or me. Or anybody else that's part of it. Jordan and Wayne attend, but yeah.
Christina
and some
already
others,
has
Barbara
the
Joy.
link, Russ.
What's that?
Christina already got the link in the chat. She's quick.
Christina is so efficient, it almost scares me sometimes. Yes.
I gotta say bye, so bye.
All right, Barb.
My
So
niece
good to
just
see
had
you.
a baby boy. My niece just had a baby boy in Nashville.
Oh,
So I
congratulations.
keep getting all these, all this chat stuff is coming down. So bye, everybody.
Awesome. All right.
Hope to see
Bye-bye.
you all soon. That was
Take care,
great,
Barbara.
Russ.
See
Bye.
you soon.
Mary
Thank
Jane,
you.
call me. Bye.
Okay. Oh, now Mary Jane's over there. It's like one person leaves and then
That's what happened.
shifts, and then Barbara Branca's back, and it's like Hollywood Squares on acid or something. Okay. Trying to keep this family oriented. All right. Brendan McGinty, indeed. What were we saying? I totally forgot now. I don't remember.
Well, Brendan actually has a question too, Russ.
A question. Cool.
He asked, what's a poet everyone should read?
Oh, God. It's like asking, what's a star everyone should look at in the sky, or what's a movie everyone should. Oh, God. It depends on what you're into. If you're into beat poetry, read, Kerouac's Mexico City Blues. If you're into more contemporary poets, I mentioned Mark Doty earlier. One of my favorite poems ever is House of Beauty. It's one of the few poems that I actually used to have memorized. And I don't memorize my work ever. It's got to be good for me to memorize it. I I can only speak from my own experience and my own likes and, preferences. I don't know about everyone else. Thank you, Mary Jane. Sylvia Plath. I always kind of worship Sylvia Plath, both because she was brilliant, and because of just my kind of, I don't know how to say it other than my, kind of maybe way of looking at the world that is maybe kind of a little bit more on the dark side sometimes. And Sylvia Plath kind of accentuates that better than anyone else. And Mary Jane mentioned Frank O'Hara also. I mean, one of the monoliths of beat poetry, along with Ginsberg and a few others, of course. So yeah, I mean, of course, Ginsberg's Howl. I mean, yes, everyone should read that, in my opinion. I've seen the best minds of my generation, I mean, and if you haven't seen the Howl movie, can we include movies into this? If you haven't seen the Howl movie with, what was his name? Frank, who's an incredible actor who played Ginsberg in that. He was the same actor who played the lead role in that movie about the guy in the canyon who sawed his arm off. I don't know if someone comes up with the name, but
James Franco.
James Franco. Thank you. I knew you knew it, Mary Jane. Yeah. Who else? God, I don't know. I'm like, I suppose in some ways I can be some kind of, like an old fogey with poetry sometimes. I get into Robert Frost, like the classic stuff, The Road Not Taken Aside. I just love that stuff. That's another poem I memorized. Yeats. I love Yeats. Another poem I memorized was, I tell everybody that I don't memorize poems ever, and now I'm mentioning all these poems I memorized. Lake Isle at Innisfree. I love that freaking poem. I mean, it's a short, simple poem, but I just, I feel it in the heart's core. I mean, you can, I think there's is there a recording of him or is a record? I don't know. I don't remember. I don't want to give you false information. Fake news. But yeah, I love Yeats. If you come across the poem Adam's Curse, it's just amazing in so many ways. The hollow moon, his love becomes a hollow moon. Yeats spent a lot of his poetry career writing about his unrequited love, Maud Gonne. She married somebody else. She was, a pretty major, activist and, throughout Europe. And most of that poem is the whole poem's about her, really. Adam's Curse. That's another great poem. I think everyone should read that one. I could go on for a while about this, probably. Nina Lewis, Yeats Society, Sligo, Ireland. Oh, can we pull that up again? Oh, come on. Here, I have it. Yeats Society, Sligo, Ireland, had an event this evening. No kidding. That can be viewed online on Facebook. Yeah. That poem, Lake Isle at Innisfree, the Lake Isle was in County Sligo. I believe it's a county. And I don't know, I'm the type who reads footnotes all the time. And Christina came up with the great theme of footnotes for our last workshop, actually. And my reply was, I speak in footnotes. My whole life is footnotes. But when I was in college, I would read all the footnotes in the Norton anthology in the little tiny, like, rice thin like rice paper type pages. So the Lake Isle at Innisfree was written about this little island in a lake in Sligo in Ireland, and Yeats was actually thinking of it when he was walking down the street in London. He wasn't even in the country, which reminds me so much of my, driving around Long Island for work and all these heavily populated, areas of that big bad old Nassau County. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, so yeah, it reminds me of kind of that, driving around Nassau County and all the, and Suffolk County and the strip malls and the traffic and all of that, thinking of, the mountains in Vermont and all that. And this was kind of the same dynamic and feeling, I think, that Yeats had when he came up with that poem, walking down the busy, crowded street in London, and came upon this storefront with this little like water spout coming out of this little like bowl kind of thing, and there was like a ball on it that was like balanced on top of the water spout, or it was turning and the water spout was hitting it, something like that. And it reminded him of the lake water lapping on the Lake Isle in Innisfree in the county Sligo. And Innisfree actually is Gaelic for Heather Island, because there was heather growing all over this little island. And free is the word for lake. Yeah, Heather Island. Or I guess Innis is the word for island, and or lake. I don't know. If somebody knows Gaelic, you can correct me on this, but it means Heather Island. I have to brush up on my Gaelic, as if I actually know Gaelic. I don't. But anyway, so yeah, there's some Yeats stuff. All right. Many favorite poems, and many poems people actually have to read. I'm not capable of picking one.
And Russ, Nina actually joins us. She's been joining us for many weeks from the UK, which is amazing.
Oh,
she found us.
How cool.
Oh, she's posting the link to it too. So yeah, that's amazing. I think she wins the award for furthest away from Long Island.
Yeah, I have a friend in Vienna that I was waiting to see if she would join us, but I don't think she made it. I have a couple of poet friends in England. There's Geraldine Green, Geraldine and Jeff. No relation to me, but we call ourselves poet brother and sister because of our last name. And also, Shannon. She lived down in Texas. She used to live here in New York, and she moved down to Texas and just recently moved to England. Shannon, her name will come to me, her last name will come to me, but anyway. Yeah, I know a few people in England. I love England. In fact, I just posted pictures the other day of me crossing the finish line in the London Marathon when I was stick thin. So yeah, England is a beautiful country.
And Whitman actually visited England, which is amazing to think about. Traveling at that time, it must have been quite a hardship, but he went there. And people who are fans of Whitman there are called Whitmanites, but here they're called Whitmaniacs.
Whitmaniacs.
Yeah, different attitude.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think about that a lot, what it was like traveling in that time. I thought about that very thing when, when Billy and I went to go see Greta Thunberg come into New York Harbor. Like, this is the way people traveled. It took Greta Thunberg 2 weeks to get here from Sweden, from Stockholm. and that was on a racing boat, a racing sailboat, 2 weeks. You know, usually it's 3, even on to 4 weeks, depending on the weather. Incredible, you know. And we fly there in a matter of, you know, I think it's 5 hours to London, and, you know, 6 hours to Paris, and yeah, it's real craziness. Yeah, we may be going back to that 3 or 4 week sailing thing. Things keep going the way they are, which I don't know. Maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. But it's something I always kind of secretly wanted to do, is sail across the ocean. You know, I mean, it'd be amazing. Although I'm prone to seasickness, but I'm willing to do it anyway. Greta Thunberg said she got off the boat and said she got horribly seasick, but she didn't. You know, it didn't affect her mood at all. Yeah. So.
And I think that's it for our questions. Right? Well, let's come back. I want to make sure we do another big round of applause, though, Russ, because that was amazing. Thank you so much for being here with us. Everybody on mute. Okay.
Yay!
Thank you so much, Russ.
Thank you all. This has been incredible. Thank you all for coming and for hanging out, listening to me read poetry and ramble for 40 minutes and then however long after that. Yeah, my poetry family, you're all family to me. You know, poets are poets from all walks of life I consider family. And yeah, that's where I feel at home. So thank you all. Just tons of gratitude. Thank you, Caitlin, again, and Cynthia, and yeah, can't wait to be at the birthplace in person sometime soon, I hope. Yeah, and go on the tours. They're having tours again starting Saturday, right?
Saturday, yes.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yes, it's such good news. We're so glad, you know, we're making progress towards everything coming back. But we learned during the quarantine that there's so many people that want to be part of these events and hear contemporary poets every week like we have. And yeah, we're getting the bigger crowds now for that. Yeah. One cool thing about it, I mean, I've several friends around the country have, you know, gotten to invite them to things like this. I think last Saturday for Poetry Street at my friend Katie from Florida, and we have our new friend from England this time, and yeah, so that's one really cool thing about doing it on Zoom. It's great. Yes, absolutely. And Iris, I want to give you a shout out because Iris is setting up all the in-person things right now. It's, I'm sure, very stressful. She's
Hey, Iris.
all the tour guides every single week.
Yeah, so please come down. You know, we're going to be opening. They're going to be abbreviated tours. We can't do a full tour, but we're going to have a lot of really cool things for everybody to see. So spread the word. Saturday is the day that we're opening. We'll be open 7 days a week. So we're, you know, we want to welcome everybody.
Awesome. Beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you for all your work, Iris. I know it's a lot. I see the emails going around and I'm like, all right, she's got this, but it's a lot.
It's wonderful though. You know, it's great. We're a great team and everybody's excited to get back to work.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the whole staff at the Whitman Birthplace is just phenomenal. They're always working away behind the scenes on all kinds of exciting events, you know, whether it's in person or on Zoom. And yeah, it's just a beautiful thing. So,
hopefully soon, Russell.
Immense gratitude to you all, you guys.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And soon I'll be handing you more stacks of postcards to be handing out to lots of poets, I'm sure.
Yes.
And I want to say thank you to everyone who came tonight. It's so wonderful. We have these big crowds. And if you check out those links, there's also links to our upcoming events. You can pre-register just like you did here tonight. And tomorrow night, I hope you join us again for Whitman Distinguished Scholar Ed Folsom. He'll be with us.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and the topic will be Women, Race, and Racism. So
Oh, cool. Excellent.
Civil War era, and again, what is progressive for that time. So definitely join us for that. And again, thank you to everyone for being here tonight.